All right, what's going on, you guys? Brian here with a quick recap of what happened on tonight's episodes of AEW Dark as well as NXT, which moved to Tuesday nights starting tonight. So, here is a brief rundown of both shows. I'm gonna start off with AEW Dark. We saw SCU, Frankie Kazarian, and Christopher Daniels. They were victorious in tag team action. Matt Sydal was victorious. The Dark Orders, number 5 and 10, they were victorious in tag team action. Colt Cabana, he was in one-on-one competition. He was victorious. Red Velvet and Big Swole picked up a tag team win in the women's division, winning a women's tag match on tonight's episode of Dark. Aaron Solo, he was victorious over Fuego del Sol. The Gun Club, Billy, Austin, and Colton, they were victorious in six-man tag action. Kylan King, she continues to build momentum in the women's division. She was victorious tonight on Dark. Matt Hardy, who has a huge opportunity tomorrow night on AEW Dynamite when he challenges Darby Allin in a Falls Count Anywhere match for the TNT Championship. He was victorious over Ken Broadway. Evo Uno and Stu Grayson of the Dark Order, they were in tag team action, and they were victorious. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, she was victorious, continuing to climb the ranks and earn victories to climb the ranks in the women's division. Hoping to become number one contender, and apparently we'll see if that in fact happens, because I think the rankings come out tomorrow. So we'll see where Britt Baker is in the women's division in the rankings. Ricky Starks and the FTW World Champion Brian Cage of Team Taz, they were also in action tonight on Dark, and they picked up a win in tag action. The Native Beast, Nyla Rose, she picked up a victory in one-on-one action. Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison, they picked up a win, continuing to build their own momentum in the tag team division. The Murder Hawk Monster, Lance Archer, he was victorious as well. And in the main event of tonight's AEW Dark episode, it was Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order defeating the Hollywood Hunk, Ryan Nemeth, in one-on-one action. So now we move on to NXT. Of course, coming off the heels of last week's two-night NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver event that saw new champions being crowned, a rivalry pushed to the point of not even being settled, plus a whole bunch more. What would be the fallout? We found out on tonight's episode. We heard from the new NXT champion, Karrion Kross, in the opening promo of the show. We also saw the new NXT Tag Team Champions, MSK. They were in action defending against the team that won the right on night 2 of Stand and Deliver to challenge them for the titles, Drake Maverick and Killian Dane. MSK was victorious in their first NXT Tag Title defense. We had a backstage segment with the Robert Stone brand and Mercedes Martinez, where Mercedes confronted Robert Stone about where her money was at. This would lead to Jessi Kamea making a challenge to Mercedes Martinez for later on in the show, and that was another match that was made official. We had highlights from the unsanctioned unsanctioned match between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly from Stand and Deliver Night 2 that had some exclusive footage of both men being taken in ambulances to the hospital, and Adam Cole while him and Kyle O'Reilly were being rolled at the same time into the emergency room, and he kept saying, "You're dead, Kyle O'Reilly. I'm not finished with you. This isn't over. I'm gonna finish you. I'm gonna get you." So obviously nothing was settled there. Of course, Kyle O'Reilly picked up the win at Takeover Stand and Deliver Night 2 in that unsanctioned match against Adam Cole. We saw Mercedes Martinez defeat Jessi Kamea. She would then get her hands on Robert Stone, who would give her the money she was owed from when she was a part of the Robert Stone brand. She would then make it very clear that she is coming for the new NXT Women's Champion, Raquel Gonzalez, who last Wednesday, on night 1 of NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver, defeated Io Shirai to become the new NXT Women's Champion. So a new challenger looking to go after Raquel and Mercedes Martinez. We heard from The Way, who talked about their upcoming 8-person mixed tag team match. The Way, of course, is Johnny Gargano, the North American champion, who was successful on night 2 when he defeated Bronson Reed, who had won a gauntlet eliminator on night 1 to earn an opportunity on night 2 of Stand and Deliver at the North American Championship. Johnny Gargano, Austin Theory, Candice LeRae, and Indy Hartwell are the 4 members that make up The Way. They talked about their 8-person mixed tag match coming up later on in the show, which would be against Dexter Lumis, Bronson Reed, and the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. We had an Isaiah Swerve Scott promo talking about Leon Ruff. We had an open challenge from the NXT Cruiserweight Champion, Santos Escobar, who became the undisputed Cruiserweight Champion at TakeOver when he defeated Jordan Devlin on night 2. I believe it was on night 2, yeah. And Kushida would answer the challenge, and we have a new NXT Cruiserweight Champion in Kushida. He defeated Santos Escobar on tonight's episode of NXT. We heard from Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher, making their intentions known that they were coming for the NXT Tag Team Championships currently held by MSK. We had a Kushida and Jordan Devlin backstage segment. We heard from Raquel Gonzalez, the new NXT Women's Champion, who would then be interrupted by the debuting Frankie Monet, otherwise known to everyone else as Taya Valkyrie. That's right, Taya Valkyrie made her NXT debut tonight, basically saying the same thing that everybody else has been saying, that she's coming for the NXT Women's title. So then after that, we would have a moment of celebration for 3 different women: Raquel Gonzalez, Rhea Ripley, who became the Raw Women's Champion at WrestleMania on night 2, and Bianca Belair, who became the SmackDown Women's Champion on night 1 of WrestleMania. Both women making an appearance on tonight's episode of NXT, and Raquel Gonzalez, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair stood in the middle of the NXT arena, the Capitol Wrestling Center, holding their titles high in the air, celebrating that 3 women, 2 went onto the main roster and became Raw and SmackDown Women's Champions, respectively, and Raquel Gonzalez becoming the NXT Women's Champion. So that was a special moment for those 3 women. We heard from Pete Dunne, who basically cut a promo saying he is now going to focus on what he came back for, and that was championship gold. We saw a vignette for Sarai. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name. A Japanese women's wrestler who is coming to NXT and will be making her debut next week. We saw a backstage segment with General Manager William Regal. When he walked into his office, Roderick Strong was standing there with his wife, Marina Shafir, and he gave Regal his resignation papers, or his papers, and saying that he is done. And Regal said that hopefully we'll see him in NXT again in the future. Isaiah Swerve Scott defeated Leon Ruff. We heard from Zoe Stark, who scored an incredible win on the pre-show of, I believe it was night 1, when she defeated Toni Storm before TakeOver Stand and Deliver night 1. She would be interrupted by Mercedes Martinez after Zoe Stark made reference that she wants the NXT Women's title. We had a vignette for Walter, the NXT UK champion, and Imperium. We had a brawl that broke out backstage during an interview segment with Isaiah Swerve Scott and Leon Ruff, so obviously nothing was settled in their match tonight. And in the main event, it was Dexter Lumis, Bronson Reed, Ember Moon, and Shotzi Blackheart defeating The Way in an 8-person mixed tag team match. One of the funny parts about this one is Indy Hartwell and her infatuation with Dexter Lumis. She pretended like she was out cold, and Dexter Lumis picked her up and walked her backstage, but then she would hold up a thumbs up and give a wink, as if to say she got her man. So that was pretty much it for NXT tonight. So this, to wrap up this video, this has been my AEW Dark and NXT recaps for both episodes. As always, I am Brian, and I will see you next time.